Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Jazakumullah khair for the invitation. First, I'm part of the family, so that's not invitation. Just to see you here all at the same, huh? Okay, I'm losing my voice, that's why. It's not the microphone. So inshallah, to start this topic today, who determines what is right and wrong in what? In everything means related to life or related to religion? طيب. So let me answer a few questions inshallah, and that might clear something out for you. There are two matters here. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Sahaba Ridwanullahi alayhim, their business were built on palm trees in Medina. That's how they made money. Okay, they grow palm trees that had dates. They collect the dates. They sell the dates. That's how they make their money. So they came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they said, "Ya Rasulullah, we are growing the trees in this way. What do you think?" He said, "Change this or do it this way." So they did it the way that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. The year after this, when they collected their dates, it was less than the years before. So they came to the Prophet complaining, "Ya Rasulullah, you advised us to do this, but we kind of lost." He said, "Antum a'lamu bi umuri dunyakum." He said, "You know the matters of your life more than me. So do it the way that you think is right." That's why I asked the question at the beginning. Are we talking about matters related to religion? Or are we talking about matters related to our regular day life? They both are kind of mixed to the Muslim because we live our life according to religion. Yes? So if we live our life according to religion, then we need to ask a question. What are our sources in life? If we want to plan something or we want to make a decision on a matter, we have to agree first of all that if we're going to make a decision on a matter, who should we return to? What is our sources? Who should we listen to? And how could we follow it? And are we obligated to follow or not to follow? This is the topic, inshallah. So the first question that I will ask, and it's going to be more of me asking questions, inshallah. The first question is, who do we return to in matters of religion first? Okay, we have a problem. If we return to nobody, then there's no point of being here. Then we need to start from zero now. Like we're starting A, B, C in religion. Who do we return to if we have a problem with matter of religion? Because this will help you in a lot of your problems at school, outside school, in your gatherings, in your meetings, in making decisions. Now we have something came up. Someone comes in, a brother, let's just pick on the brother a little bit. A brother come in, he just returned from Umrah, mashallah, very high on Iman and the spiritual level, comes and says, "This is haram. We cannot do this." Now, everybody on the other side said, "Why we can't? There is nothing in the religion that says not to do it." Then he comes and says, "Well, there is a lot in the religion that says not to do it. Can you bring us some evidence?" He brings some evidence, you bring some evidence, then we start the fight. So we need to set a base where we could come back, and this is every Muslim, by the way, or if we don't do that, the problem happens that we will have two different opinions. We will have a dispute among Muslims, then we will have fight, hate, dislike, division, which we don't need nowadays, to be honest. We have enough division in our Muslim community as a whole. Not just in school. We have enough division on matters that we don't need to divide on. We have division now on where to put our hands in salah. Okay? If it's lower than the belly or up or we differ on that to a point where we're like, okay, this brother's salah is not very good compared to my salah. And this is just a simple thing that we're making it a big deal out of it. Then we have problems. So who do we return to if we have problems? That should be our first question. So the answer is Allah and His Messenger. Okay, second question. Easy now, mashallah, there's a response now. Second question says, how do you return to Allah and His Messenger? Quran and Sunnah. Okay, very good, mashallah. So why are you guys differing on matters? If you're returning back to the same source, why do we still have division? Why are we still differing on matters of religion or even matters of dunya? Should we do this or we shouldn't do that? Isn't Quran and Sunnah enough for us to return back to? Okay, let's make this a more interaction form than me speaking. What do you think? Is Quran and Sunnah enough or not enough? They're not enough? Okay, so when if you say you're not enough, then I'll ask another question. MashaAllah, we'll bring in more questions now. Why is not enough? You said you return to Quran and Sunnah. Huh? So now we have a third part that comes in now. Interpretation of Quran and Sunnah. Okay. Why we have different interpretation of Quran and Sunnah? Can we have different interpretation of Quran and Sunnah? No, can we have different interpretation of Quran and Sunnah? Yes? Okay. So far, so good. Now, third question, so I could answer all the questions later, inshallah. If we differ in the interpretation of Quran and Sunnah, whose interpretation do we accept in this case? Now, if the verse is clear, if the verse says, this is allowed, this is not allowed, this is halal, this is haram, this is permissible, this is forbidden, we don't have a problem and we shouldn't disagree on that. If the Prophet ﷺ says do this or don't do that, we shouldn't have a problem with that. But if there is a verse and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that منه آيات محكمات هن أم الكتاب وأخر متشابهات. The Quran has verses that there are muhkam. Muhkam means there are set rules, they are straightforward. Do this, how many times? Don't do this, stay away from this. Some of the verses of the Quran, mutashabihat, meaning that they cause some confusion or difference of opinion in matters that some people understand it this way, others understand it this way. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if we differ, now again, if we differ in the Quran or Sunnah, who should we return to? So now we return to Quran and Sunnah. We differ because of the interpretation. But if we still have different of opinion, or we have misunderstanding of Quran or Sunnah, or interpretation of Quran and Sunnah that are different, then we need to return to something. Because Allah sent us the Quran or Sunnah to follow. He made it the divine religion, the last of religions. There is no way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have left it just open for us to say, well, I like this way, he like this way, then we have million of opinion. There must have been a way or somehow a set foundation to the Sahaba or to the Tabi'een or to their followers till today. There says, if you disagree, if you don't understand something, then you return to the understanding of who? Huh? If there is a consensus of the scholar, then it's like Quran or Sunnah. So there is no need to differ either. There is no way that a problem would take place among Muslims if there is consensus of the scholars. Okay? If somebody comes today and says, drinking alcohol is halal, what would you say? See, everybody's like, no way. 100%? Here you go. It's 100%. Why? Because the ayah is very clear, the hadith is very clear, the ijma', the consensus is very clear. So when we have interpretation of the Quran, we have two imams who live in the same city, two masajid, one imam says this, one imam says this. Who should we listen to? The one we like more. So we're returning back to who then? Huh? Your heart? If you do so, the hadith says that. Correct. The hadith says, return to your heart when the case you have doubtful matters. You have doubtful matters. Meaning, your heart will lead you to which opinion is more correct. If the matter is doubtful, not different of opinion. When different of opinion is understanding of two people. So you follow your sheikh that you listen to, or you like more, or you attend his classes more. That's the case with most people. But we still have a problem because his understanding, why is his understanding better than my understanding? It will lead us to this 7:45 topic. It'll lead us to that topic somehow. I'll tell you where. Because we'll ask another question now. You say our values and our manners and our tradition, does it change because of time and place and situation? Do we have that in Islam? Yes, we do. But then we have to say, but wait. Let's answer this question first. We return to the understanding of the people whom the Quran was revealed upon at the time where they were living. When the Quran came down to the Prophet. The Prophet conveyed it to who? To us. To Sahaba, to the companions. Companions conveyed it to who? Their followers. Their followers conveyed it to their followers, and so on, correct? So we have understanding of the Sahaba who understood the language. They asked the Prophet when he was alive. And Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu said a very beautiful statement that we need today in our time. He said, "Man kana mustannan falyastanna biman qad mat." If you would to follow the sunnah or the way of someone, then follow the way of people who have passed away. Meaning that the companions and their followers. Why is that? He said, إِنَّ الْحَيَّ لَا تُؤْمَنُ عَلَيْهِ الْفِتْنَةِ. That the person who's living, you do not know if the affliction would change his heart. We have scholars throughout history who might have said at one point of their time that wine was haram. Now they are saying it's fine if you drink only a specific amount. You think a scholar would say that? There are scholars who are saying that today. So Ibn Mas'ud says there are people change. So the ones who didn't change, the ones that we know for sure their opinion, they died, their opinion was still the same, are the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. These are the ones that we follow when we differ in the interpretation of the Quran or the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This will solve half of our problems. Their understanding should be sufficient for us. Why? Because Allah chose the Prophet ﷺ for his message, yes? Okay, the Prophet ﷺ gained his prophethood. He gained it because of his knowledge, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose him. What do we believe as Muslims? Huh? So is he chosen, or because of his actions he was giving prophethood? Which one? Huh? He was chosen by Allah. طيب. Now, me and you today, we're living in 2018 with all the problems that you see around. We're not living at the time of the Prophet. Do you think there is a reason for that? For sure there is a reason why we're here today. But Allah chose also His companions. So Allah chose those people specifically to carry on the message that will last till the day of judgment. That Ibn Mas'ud said, when Allah looked into the hearts of the humans in general, all human beings, Arab and non-Arab, black, white, red, yellow, Allah looked into the hearts of all His creation, and He found the heart of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam to be the most pure among the hearts. So He chose him for His message. Then Allah looked into the hearts of the people who were living around that time, and He found the hearts of His companions, so He chose them to follow His message and to carry it on. So they are chosen. So their interpretation should be sufficient for us to go back to it. Like you have a math problem right now. You're stuck in solving that problem. Okay? Who do you refer to? Huh? The book will get you nowhere. Your teacher who knows how to solve this problem because he has the knowledge, okay? Or he have done it already, so you trust his opinion, you trust what he says, and you follow his steps to see if you're going to get to the same answer. You use the same equation that he used, but the steps that you have been using are wrong. Why? Because no one have led you to these steps. So when someone leads you, then you find yourself at the right place, at the right end. This is what the case with the Quran or the Sunnah. of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is very important when we differ today. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose then scholars who carry on the message of the religion to us. And we trust them and we follow them. But the case is, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, O you who believe, ati'u Allah, obey Allah, wa ati'u Rasul, and His Messenger, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, wa ulil amri minkum, and the people who are in power, meaning that either the interpretation says that the people in power who are ruling by Quran or Sunnah, or the scholars. فَإِن تَنَازَعْتُمْ فِي شَيْءٍ, if you differ in a matter, then you return it to Allah and His Messenger. What happened to the people of power and the people of books and the scholars? No, when we differ, we return to Allah and His Messenger through the understanding of the generation that Rasulullah ﷺ said, the best of generation is mine, the ones followed after me, and then the one after them. The three best generation, which are the Sahaba, companions, their followers, and their followers. This should clear any problem. This should clear any misunderstanding or confusion or misinterpretation of the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Now, to our questions now. Throughout time, we have the deen and we have dunya, we have the religion and we have life. Is the religion suitable for all time, all places? Yes or no? Yes? But this is not the case today. What we see is people saying, without them speaking, they are saying that this happened at the old days, at the time of the Prophet. We're no longer in that time. We're no longer in that place. We're not riding camels today. Okay? We're not riding donkeys to work. We have airplanes. We have trains. Why are you still using the same rules? Because the religion don't change. Same as manners and moralities don't change, no matter the place that you live in or the time that you live in. Now, when the Prophet ﷺ was sent, he said a very beautiful statement. He says, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ, I was sent to complete good manners. So the question rises here, the people who lived at the time of the Prophet, they had manners? They had good characteristic or no? Like what? Huh? Generosity. Huh? Huh? Loyalty. Huh? Courage. Honesty. There are some people who are known that they never lied. They had characteristic, but this characteristic was mixed because of the time that they were living in and the place where they were living, were worshipping idols and other than that. When the Prophet ﷺ came, he said, I came to not to bring good manners. He said, I came to complete, perfect good manners, to make it in the best form. Therefore, it don't change, regardless of the time or the place where you're living. What changes in Islam or in ruling or in the religion are the rulings. Certain rulings do change with time and place. Not the religion, not the values. So whether you're living in the Middle East or in the United States, your values are the same. For a person now who lives somewhere where people, they know him, so he's afraid of lying. He moves to an area where nobody knows him. Now, lying is still what? Still not allowed, forbidden. But everybody lies. Well, you didn't lose your value. You didn't lose your characters, your manners, your good manners. You could adopt good manners. If you see something good, like now when we come here, we adopt certain things, okay? One of my shuyukh was saying that when he goes to Egypt, he loves to stand in line. Just wait, and there's no lines in Egypt, by the way, if you know that. There's no such a thing as a line. He said, I wait in line. So everybody starts jumping in. People come in, and he says, I wait for 2 hours sometime, and I feel so happy that I'm following the rules. But at the end, I don't get anything done. You see? So we as Muslims, we are asked by the Prophet ﷺ to adopt these manners, these good values, but without losing our values. And this is the problem that happened to a lot of Muslims, unfortunately. When they migrate, or when they leave to another country, or when they leave where they're born and raised, if they're raised in a Muslim country I'm talking about, then number one, they start losing the language part, or at least not the first generation, then the tradition and the values, then manners and part of religion, till maybe the fourth, fifth generation, where you have people who are farthest away from Islam and from the religion. We could be Muslims in America. We could be Muslims in Europe. We could be Muslims in China. That doesn't change. The place and the time should not change our value. But what changes are certain rules that we could, it's more flexible for the Muslims to adopt. Okay? Now, the scholars, for example, if a rule, I don't know if I should be speaking about that, but let me back up for a second. When the Prophet ﷺ saw the Sahaba who migrated to Abyssinia, they came back and they were telling Rasulullah ﷺ certain actions that they have seen, where the Prophet ﷺ approved it, and he said, Subhanallah, it is part of our religion. It's there, but we don't know how to do it. We don't know it's part of our religion. Like now, when people don't lie, they say, oh, I can't lie on my application because it won't get accepted. No, because your religion says don't lie. But you just live so much in a place where you get used to doing that you forgot that your religion ordered you already to do so. So the Prophet ﷺ, a man came to him. He said, what is the most surprising thing that you have seen in Abyssinia? He said, Ya Rasulullah, I saw women, and they took, a man had power, so he took her house, he destroyed her house, and he took over her land. She was a very poor woman. So, and when she came to talk to him, he pushed her on the ground. So when she raised her head, قالت ستعلم يا غدر إذا كان يوم القيامة ووضع الله الموازين قالت ستعلم في أي ميزان تكون أنت. She said, no, she was not Muslim. She said, in the day of judgment, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sets the scales, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will weight every action that you do. And you will see where this action, when you pushed me, you think this is nothing. You will see where this action will go on the scale, meaning it will weight over you or against you. The Prophet ﷺ said, Subhanallah, she knew that Allah is justice, and she knew that Allah deals with justice in the day of judgment. That's a belief, that's a value. That's something that people knew even before Islam. The Prophet ﷺ says, isn't that our aqeedah? Isn't that our part? So we're not supposed to dissolve in the community where we live to a point where we lose our identity, our language, our tradition, our custom. And the reason that people do that all returns back to where we were speaking about. We said the source of where we derive our rules is Quran and Sunnah, correct? Why people change the way that they change? Because of their misunderstanding of the Quran or Sunnah. Because there are people who interpret the Quran and Sunnah and they twist the interpretation and change the interpretation to fit the time and the place where you're living. And this is the problem. What was haram at the time of the Prophet ﷺ and Allah said is haram, it's still haram till our time today. What was allowed at the time of Rasulullah ﷺ is still allowed till our time today. What changes? Can we change? Let me ask this question. Can we change? If you say yes, in what matters? So we already agree that matters that are related to manners and characteristic, and matters that are related to our values and our Quran and Sunnah as direct orders and commands, that don't change. Correct? So we agree on that. So if we disagree on a matter and it's very clear from Quran and Sunnah, then this disagreement shouldn't exist. When can we disagree and the agreement does make sense? And we could say, we could change. The deen is flexible. This is what people say today. Like they tell you, Islam is very easy. Why are you making it so hard? No, we're not making it hard. We're just saying this is what's allowed to change and we could work on it and do change. There's no problem. But this part we can't. Why? Because it's very clear on the religion. 5 times a day. I'm just giving you something that no one would disagree. I'm just trying to stay away from all disagreement. If someone says, you know what, in the United States, because of the hardship and Islam is a very soft, very easy religion. And, the rule says whenever hardship exists, then ease will come in. And this is actually a foundation in the fundamentals of fiqh. So the person is, mashallah, faqih. He's using all the evidence. And he says, in America now, we go to school, we have classes, we have work and so on. How about make salah twice a day? Before school and after school. By the way, it makes great sense. And there is ayah in the Quran that says salah should be in the morning and at night time. So they tell you, and there's also ayah in the Quran, why don't we take that? Now the question comes, can we change in that? Because we live in the US, can we change? Why you all said no, and you're going to agree on that. We're not going to disagree. But if I bring you another matter, you're going to be, yeah, well, it's the same. Salah is a pillar of religion, but it's part of religion. It's not all religion. The brothers and sisters who for example, they live in an area where they have the daylight more than 16, 17 hours a day, or 18 hours a day sometime. So the night time will be what? 18 hours, that means that the night time is? Only, yeah? No? Yeah, only 6 hours. It can't be. Days 24 hours everywhere, by the way. It doesn't change. So they only have the night 6 hours, okay? Now they come and say, Ya Sheikh, if I fast now from morning to night, how am I going to do it? You're telling me to fast 19 hours? Now can we change it for him? Yes or no? See, everybody in Salah were like, yeah. You know why? This is another part that maybe should be emphasized. If you want to run out of all problems in life, okay? I'm talking about life right now. I'm not just talking about religion. If you want to escape any problem in life, there is only one solution. Anybody know what the solution is? Huh? No. No, because Rasulullah would choose the easy way all the time. Subhanallah. See how we make it hard. The Prophet would choose the easy way. One thing that you should do clears confusion for everything in your life. Either your life as your school, your work, or religious life. One thing. Very simple. One word. No, not death. Death, subhanallah. You see, people don't have, we're saying being optimistic. Maybe we should give a khutbah on that. Optimism against, yes, not death. While you're living, how about that? Huh? No. Yes. No. One thing. It starts with a K. Khushu'. No. That's for your salah. That's your person. This will solve your salah problem, And khushu', by the way, doesn't start with a K. That's the English interpretation, okay? Knowledge. The cure to ignorance, the cure to problem is knowledge. So now, this person comes to you and says, I can't fast. Knowledge says he fasts to the closest country where he lives on the regular timing. So if this person lives in a place where they have 19, 20 hours of daytime and only 4 hours of nighttime, he looks to the closest country to him that has regular days and night, where they have like 11 hours only for day and the rest for night, then we will say to him, you only need to fast 11 hours only, even though it's not Maghrib time yet. That's knowledge. Solved his problem. If you don't have knowledge, you could have killed him. The Prophet ﷺ said that the cure of ignorance. So now, if you want to know something is halal or haram, if you want to know something is right or wrong, okay, the question that you guys had on the flyer, even though I never stick with it says what? Who determines right or wrong? We already said Quran and Sunnah, the understanding of the scholars, the understanding of the Sahaba, companions, their followers and their followers. What if we don't find anything that talks about our problem that is in the Quran or Sunnah or Sahaba? None of the Sahaba spoke about it. What can we do? Now we return back to the scholar's understanding. Now, can the scholar understanding differ in this case? Yes. And the reason that they will differ here, and now it's acceptable, is that we don't have evidence. It's only a matter of ijtihad. They're striving, they're doing their best in getting the opinion for you, according to what they have and what they have studied. So his opinion could be right, and my opinion could be right. This is the case where we get to. So knowledge is the solution. I'll tell you a very beautiful story on the Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala rahmatan wasi'a. Imam Shafi'i, he has an opinion in interpretation of an ayah, a verse of the Quran that says, وَالْمُطَلَّقَاتُ يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ ثَلَاثَةَ قُرُوء. That a woman who's divorced, she should wait 3 periods. Now, the word quru means period of time. Now, it also means menstruation period for women. But in the Arabic language, it also means the purification after menstruation. Everybody's like, don't get into fiqh, yeah? Let's not take fiqh. But it's very simple. A man divorces his wife. Now, can they return to each other without a new contract? Can they return to each other? Yes, they can, if it's within 3 purification or 3 menstruation time. Now, Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah held the opinion that it's 3 menstruation time, meaning that if a woman has her menstruation, her period, second one, if the third one she started the third, her husband can't come near her. Now, if they want to return, they have to do a new contract. He has to pay new dowry for her. He has to do all as if they're starting from the beginning. Now, Al-Qasim ibn Sallam, rahimahullah, one of the scholars of Imam al-Shafi'i time, he argued the opposite. That if a woman has 3 purification, not 3 menstruation time. So it means if she become impure, she cleans herself, then she's during her menstruation, then she purify herself. Then 3rd menstruation, when she takes a shower and wear her clothes, her husband can't return to her. He has to do a new contract. So if she's pure, she still didn't take a shower yet, and her husband decided to return her, and they decided to solve their problem and get back together, there's no need for a contract, there's no need for anything. So it does make a difference now in the opinion. So they sat together. Imam Shafi'i is a scholar of the language. He knew Arabic more than any of the scholars who exist of his time. Qasim ibn Sallam is the figure of the Arabic language of his time too. So they are like debating. They debate. This one says, no, the language says this. This is the word came from here, the source. What happened at the end of the argument? Anybody know? At the end of the argument, Imam Shafi'i took Al-Qasim ibn Sallam's opinion, and Al-Qasim ibn Sallam took Imam Shafi'i's opinion. So now they return home. Shafi'i says, no, it's 3 purification time. Qasim Salam said, no, it's 3 menstruation time. The fiqh changed. Why? Because it's flexible. That's the argument that got them somewhere. We argue today just to get nowhere. I am right, he's wrong. We're trying to do that. So, now back to the question. Do our values change? We said no. Our morals change? No. No matter where we live, because the Sahaba Ridwanullah alayhim migrated everywhere. Islam entered Asia, the entire continent, because of the manners of some merchants who went, they had to sell and buy, that's all they did. So with the manners of Islam and the values of Islam, that they held on to it. They will sell a product, if it has a defect, they will tell the person even if they can't see it. The person will say, why you told me? I can't even see it. So because Islam said so. That's me. They were not scholars, but they spread the message of Islam through their values and their action. And this is what we could do today. So the reason, now, can we change? Yes, there are certain things that do change. The question comes back to you. What can we change? Now it's easy, I already answered. What could be changed in the religion? Our value could change? No. Our manners could change? No. Our characteristic could change? No. Our beliefs could change? No. But what changes? Huh? Rulings. Rulings either because of evidence. Like, why do you think the ulama changed their rulings? Imam Ahmad sometimes will say, you want my answer? They say, yeah. 7 opinions. Is there anything such as 7? Like there is no, it's either, like we have 2 opinions, 3. 7 opinions? Yeah. He looks into Quran and Sunnah, nothing. Now he has 7 companions who said 7 things different from each other. Imam Ahmad says, which one do I take? They all are good. All are companions. Which one should I take? So he ended up doing what? Taking all what? All 7. And all 7 are not the same. You see it all the time. You see it. So the ruling changed. Because of what? Evidence that comes up to the scholar that he didn't know. Shafi'i changed his entire madhab. Not entire madhab, but most of it. When he migrated from Iraq to Egypt. When he came to Egypt, he saw things and heard things from the scholars of Egypt that he have not heard of in Iraq, when he was in Iraq. So he changed his madhab. He changed his opinion. And this proves to you that these people are trustworthy. They are sincere, because holding on to the truth is more important than people saying, oh, he changed his opinion. Or who cares what people think, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala thinks. Now, second part that could change is what you need to know here, the customs, the tradition, al-urf. If there is a legislative rulings that are related to customs or tradition, that could change. Because of the time, the place, the people. Now, I'll give you an example. Eating fish. Astaghfirullah, let's not get into the Hanafis, they're going to be upset. Someone says, well, listen to this. Someone says, Wallahi, I am, astaghfirullah. He said, Wallahi, he is not going to eat meat. I don't want to swear and go home. My wife just cooked for me, so I'm waiting for that. He said, Wallahi, he's not going to eat what? Meat. Okay? And the word in Arabic is lahm. Lahm means meat. Now, you invite him for fish. Can he eat fish? Just be careful. Because if he eats meat, then he has to pay the expedition by fasting, by freeing a slave, or by feeding 60 people, or by feeding 10 people, or by giving nusuk, or by fasting 3 days, whatever expedition he's going to do. Forget that. He's going to do something if he breaks his vow or his swear. Now, this person comes to your house, you have fish. You provide fish for him. He said, Wallahi, I won't eat what? Meat. And he said the word lahm. Now, can he eat? Yes, that means you like fish. Can he eat fish? La, forget shrimp. Fish. Now, we have a verse in the Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about fish. And he said, تَسْتَخْرِجُونَ minhu, from the sea. You take out from the sea. What? Lahman tariya. Lahman means what? Meat. So you take from the sea, what? Meat. So he swore not to eat meat. Now Allah said about fish, He called it what? Lahm. Can he eat fish? No. Everybody says no now. See? This is where the tradition will come in. The customs will come in. Now in my country, We don't call fish meat. We don't. We call it fish. We call it seafood. We never call it lahm. So in our tradition, in our custom, fish is not considered what? Meat. Now, in your custom, in your tradition, your people call fish meat. So if he lives in the area where people call fish meat, then he cannot eat fish. If he comes to my country, he could eat fish. How come the rule changed? The ayah is very clear. Yes, but the understanding differ because of tradition and custom. So when can we follow tradition and custom? One condition. And I'll end this with it. And I'll tell you why we're falling into old problems and losing our values and our because of what happened at the time, especially at the time of not holding on to the Quran and Sunnah. We could follow tradition and customs with one condition. If they do not contradict Quran or Sunnah or a known pillar in Islam. Can you celebrate birthdays now? Don't answer. Just take it home and do a study on it. Okay? See, this is the questions that come up. Can we do this? We'll say, is this religious? They'll tell you, no, it's not religious. Birthdays are not religious, right? Or they are. I don't know. They are? Just trying to get it, see where the both sides are standing, because they're hiding their mix right now. I know some people are like haram without even thinking. And some people are like halal without even thinking. Like they don't want to hear what you're going to say. But I'm just saying, birthdays, I'm not going to give you the ruling by them. I'm just saying, birthdays, are they religious or tradition? Depends whose birthday. Forget whose birthday. We're not saying to celebrate. No. Your birthday. No, I'm not saying to celebrate like a...
All of ours except his.
Okay, yours is religious because you were born in a blessed day or something. There's no barakah involved. I'm saying your birthday. People celebrating that. Is it tradition or religion? Tradition. We take that tradition very easy. I'm just giving you like the equation. You do your math. Okay? You take this tradition, you look into the Quran and Sunnah. You look into general rulings and specific rulings. If that celebration, if this tradition contradicts Quran or Sunnah, then this tradition becomes not allowed. If this tradition don't contradict Quran and Sunnah, you might have people who still say no or yes. But then we're going to say the opinion here is flexible, where one side could take one opinion with no harm, and the other side holds on to the other opinion with no harm. But all of this comes back to if both sides are speaking with knowledge. Not like what the sister says. Of course, Rasulullah says, if you have halal and haram and doubtful matters, check your heart. Okay? So, some of these rules you can't check your heart because your desire will always lead you to what you want. So if someone gets birthday gifts, good celebration, only parties, music and all of that, and then the sheikh comes and says birthdays are halal, they're like, alhamdulillah, he said it. Why they say it's halal? Because who cares whether it's halal or they're not looking into halal, haram into it. They're looking into their desire, whether it fits their desire or not. They don't care which ruling, what evidence he has. But if you're really honest in your following your deen, in everything that you do in your life, just ask yourself that question. My action, is it according to Quran or Sunnah? Is my action accepted by Allah and His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? There are some actions that Allah left it to us to do. Like now, when you ride a car, which brand do you like? You know, I was doing a search recently about a big issue that took place in Saudi Arabia. You guys have heard of the new ruling in Saudi Arabia that women are allowed to drive? And the big scene around it, and they made it seem like this is a fiqh rule, like a ayah from the Quran came down, then now the ayah is abrogated. Some people are talking about it like it's... I heard one of our shuyukh when he was talking about it, and he said this in reality returns back to tradition and custom. Has nothing to do with religion. I'm sorry, I'm being very honest. The scholars who used to say haram, 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 haram because of religious point of view, they were wrong. If they were saying it's not allowed because there is harm in where we live, Sheikh Ibn Baz was asked, he said, if this fatwa was giving in Dubai, Dubai is next door, okay? Women drive in Dubai? Yeah? They have rest areas for them to rest. They have their husbands with them or their brothers, whatever. There's so many ways that made it allowed there or made it permissible or no problem in driving in Dubai. So I said if we were next door, maybe we could have said yes. But in our tradition and where we live, we're limited to our tradition and custom, which is correctly fine because it doesn't contradict anything in Quran or Sunnah. So now when it turned to that they see that there is a benefit, and this is where the ulama will jump in, the scholars, not me or you. We should not say, well, I think there is a benefit of this. No, I think there is a harm. Who are you to decide whether there is harm or benefit? Are the scholars. So one of the shuyukh was asked, you know what he said? He said, women riding al-ibil is better than women riding opel. Or ibil, what is the car called? Opel? You know the word ibil in Arabic means what? Camels. So he said, them riding ibil is the same as them riding Opel, the brand. Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ says, the best women of Quraysh, the ones who used to ride horses and camels. What does that mean? Halal or haram? There is no halal or haram in it. We can't say halal or haram. We really can't say determine halal or... Like this is the problem that comes, it's halal, now it's haram. The problem started in Saudi Arabia. The reason that the problem started is because they made it halal and haram. It was not permissible for reasons or not permissible because of the harms, which some scholars did talk about this. They were saying if this take place, if like some people were saying like cameras now. You know this picture you're taking? There are some scholars who hold the opinion till today that pictures are not allowed. How come our scholars who used to say 10 years ago that pictures are haram or not allowed, now they say pictures are permissible? Because now pictures have changed from their definition of picture at their time. A picture that is drawn by hand is different from a picture that you take with your phone now. Picture that you draw, the statue that you make, very hard to erase it or to break. You have to break it in order to get rid of it. But this picture that you take on your phone now, can you get rid of it? In less than a second, you press delete, it's gone. So that doesn't hold the same ruling. Like, why is this changing? Because the rulings here are due to either benefit and harm, and the scale of benefit and harm should be left to please to only the scholars. Not the MSA. Sorry, man. I know you're the president. I'm not picking on that. Not the MSA. Not saying there is benefit in doing this. No. The religion says there is benefit in doing this. I know they don't do it. I'm just messing with them. They shouldn't say, well, I think there is more benefit. Like I'll tell you a story that I like to end with, and khalas, I'm not going to even comment. There was a call to a protest where some Muslims leaders said it was allowed to go and join. Okay? And I know a brother that I disagree with him on a lot of things, but he came with a video that I think most of you have heard him speaking on when you guys, and it's true, I agree with 1,000,000%, like if there's 1,000,000%. He said, if we join these groups in their celebration or in their protest, or no, it was the other way around. They are coming to join us, and they were so happy about that. When this group next week calls us for a protest, what do we have to do? Huh? Join them. We can't say no. Correct? We can't, because they already came, we welcomed them, we were happy, no problem, and so on. So when he was speaking about that, these are values. And people respect that. Why do people respect you if you hold on to your deen? Wallahi, believe me, people respect you more if they see you holding on to your values. But if people see that you're letting it go, but you're only holding on to one thing, they're disrespecting you. And the brother told me, a guy came to him and he asked him if he could pray Friday prayer. So his boss didn't allow him. Why? Why do you think his boss didn't allow him to pray Friday? Huh? Because he didn't pray any prayers? He said his boss was non-Muslim. His boss told me, he said, you know, I don't give him permission. I'm happy to give him permission to pray Friday. If he quit drinking, because Muslims don't drink and pray. I'm like, there's nothing I could say. You know, you're right. He doesn't see him practicing. So why, like you didn't practice anything from your religion. Now you want to skip your job for a few hours just to take a break? No, you're not going to take a break. You see that? The more you hold on to your deen, the more that people will be speaking against you. But this shouldn't matter at all, because if you're trying to please Allah, then you're holding on to what Allah says to hold on to what the Prophet ﷺ says to hold on to. I hope I answered the question, even though I went through many topics, but inshallah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us on the Quran or Sunnah, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the knowledge, the beneficial knowledge that benefit us in this dunya and in the hereafter, inshallah. I'll just open up for question if there is any. If there is none, then we could all leave happy, inshallah. Any question, inshallah. Maybe next time I'll be speaking about, hopefully if I ever come again, speaking about what lack of knowledge led this ummah to, that we're suffering today because of that. Yes, go ahead.
So just in general, what's the definition of like traditions and customs so that people can know when ruling will change according to them? Because I feel like it's kind of like something that people are biased about what they think is a tradition, what they think is a custom, and what they think is just the way that things work.
Tradition, as we said, tradition or custom that people are used to that has no contradiction in their religion. So anything that is a form of tradition that don't contradict the religion, you have to follow it, and it becomes obligatory sometime to do so. I'll give you an example. The tradition or the known tradition that if you ride a taxi, you pay the person, correct? In Egypt is also known, but you could run away. Okay, people make it like that. I'm just joking. That's not true. You still have to pay for the head. Someone comes and says, well, this person, from a religious point of view, this person is doing something good for Allah. Why is he getting paid for it? Why do I have to pay him? Rasulullah said, if you have a ride and you're able to help your brother or sister, then do so. Okay? So why is he getting money for that? I'm not going to pay this person. I'm just going to get a ride, a free ride. Now, bring an ayah from the Quran or hadith that says pay a driver after he gives you a ride. That is a known custom or tradition. It's known. It became so popular that everybody agrees on that it becomes a custom, that where people are doing it on a regular basis, and we have nothing in the religion that says don't or do. Now, to what point? If a brother went to a country, okay, where wearing anything other than clothes like this that you're wearing, or your pants and your t-shirts, then you're considered not normal. You know, a lot of the brothers, mashallah, when they come to the masjid, they wear the Yemeni futa thing. It's good to wear it. It's better than the pants, by the way. It's better to pray in it than the pants. And I hold that opinion strongly. Or wearing something that is white. So that does the job. But when you wear it, it looks like what? A skirt. Now I go to a country where if I walk in the street like that, they will think something's wrong with me. The person is wearing a skirt. You come to Egypt, you walk in the street like that, you'll be killed. Seriously. You grow your hair. Growing the hair is a sunnah. But they're not used to it. So you walk with a skirt like that. Not a skirt, of course not a skirt. But you take it to a masjid, you say, hey brother, I'm going to make salah. Now we will say, do I have to follow the tradition and the custom of the people in this country? Or should I hold on to my religion? Now, is wearing that part of religion? It's not part of religion. It's extra. Now, you following people's tradition comes first as an obligation of you leaving something that you think is more recommended. Not only that sometimes you follow the tradition over the sunnah. You believe that? Over the sunnah, for at least for a period of time. For example, when I was sitting with a man in his store in Egypt, tradition in Egypt that anyone who walks in the street without a head cover, like a hijab, Okay, with the long hair, she's also considered a sister. Like a sister has long hair, that's known. Now I was sitting with an old man. A brother came in with a long beard, long hair up to here. When this man saw him walking, he got very upset. He took his shoes off, literally, okay? Sorry, we are on camera. And threw it at him, and he spit on him. And he said, you're disgracing the beard. You're looking like a woman. What are you doing? And he was running after him. I held him. I'm like, easy. It's a sunnah. He said, what? I was like, no, khalas, it's not a sunnah. You know, it's not the time to talk about this right now with him. Now, you advise this brother to shave his head? Yes. It becomes obligatory to follow the tradition and the custom of the place where you live, even if you're going to leave a sunnah? Yes. But with the sunnah, there's extra condition that says, till you teach people and it becomes, people become at least familiar, even if they don't accept it. Becomes familiar with it, then you could practice that sunnah. So tradition in Islam or the customs in Islam holds a great value. Like, as long as what? Doesn't contradict. Now I travel to Denmark. Everybody there drinks. Literally everybody. Men, women, kids, like, you get in the plane, you're sitting next to drunk. I spent one trip from Denmark to Egypt in the bathroom. Serious, I couldn't go anywhere. I tried to switch seats. Two people are sitting down. I'm in the middle. I said to them, you guys want to talk to each other? You want to sit next to each other? They said no. I'm like, and I said that because the smell was so strong and they were speaking to each other. So now I said I want to move from their seat. So she moved me somewhere and brought somebody else next to. I sat there. I'm going to say two sisters, two females, sitting down. We started fine. Maybe 10, 15 minutes, they start talking nonsense. I looked at both of them. They're holding a little bottles. La hawla quwwata illa billah. Where am I going to go? Bathroom. Seriously, almost the whole plane. It's got, to them, they drink more than they drink water. Now, you go live there. You're like, mashallah, it's a tradition. No, hold on. It is a tradition. But that tradition does what? Contradicts what? Quran or Sunnah. So you cannot do it. Now, for marriage, a sister you go to ask for sister's hand, or other way around. Their tradition, inshallah, none of you is traditional. Their tradition is you don't see your wife till the day of marriage. You know, there are some people who are like that. You don't see your wife till the night, so they might switch her off if you're lucky. If not, but anyway, like, you see a different person. It happened. That's why the ulama got involved but anyway, let's just say that happened. Now, you come in as a religious person. You say, ittaqullah, this is haram. Where is it haram? That says, where? You'll see there is a time where you go to their house first. You see her. Most likely that means she was wearing niqab, or she doesn't go as much. So you see her. Is that the one you want? Yeah, this is my wife, and so on. You know her name, you talk to her, and all that. That happened maybe once or twice. That's it. Till marriage, and it's usually the time distance is very short. To some custom. Now you cannot go in where the whole country is set like that. This is their tradition, and you come and say, I want to go out with my wife. What do you mean go out with your wife? And with my fiance even, not just wife. They'll kill you. It's their tradition. Do you have to respect that tradition? Now, we say, does it contradict Quran or Sunnah? Is there anything in the deen that says otherwise? You say no. So when you go and you choose to get involved into this family or this tribe or this country, then you have to accept their tradition and their system. Now, does the religion say we have to accept it? Yes. The religion says that tradition becomes like religion if it doesn't contradict religion. I don't like their way. Million other country where you could go and marry. Correct? It's not like you chose to. You got involved. You said, I want. And so, well, you have the right to break the engagement if you find your wife being switched at the end of the... You see, it used to happen in the south of Egypt, where they will only they only see each other during the night. So you go marry one, maybe she's the youngest, but they want the older to marry first. So you see the younger, you like her. The day of marriage, you see your wife in your own house. Now it's only you and her. You take the cover off. Who are you? She says, just makeup maybe or something. I don't know. That's a different person. Well, there is Islamic look. There is Islamic ruling even to that. The Islamic ruling says that you have the right to break the contract, and there's nothing upon you because she was switched off. Or inshallah, that doesn't happen today. But I'm just giving example to clarify things to you. You see where our scholars sometimes would allow certain actions to be taking place or consider it to be allowed just because the tradition or the custom says so. So I hope that is clear, inshallah. Any other question? Alhamdulillah, clear? I hope I answered it. Yes.
So I was wondering about when wanting to go to Umrah or Hajj and you have debt, are you still allowed to go if you have debt, or should you pay it off first?
Well, the ulama,
I think that's better to do.
what is better is to pay your debt because you're not obligated to do Hajj or Umrah if you owe money. Okay? But the scholars have an opinion in that if you're going for Umrah and you owe someone money, you have to take his permission for you to go. So you tell him, I know I owe you $1,000, but this year I'm going to be doing Hajj or Umrah, so I'm not going to be paying you this year, next year. If he approves it and gives you the approval, then you could go for Hajj or Umrah. The other opinion says, if you know yourself that you're able to pay him after coming back from Hajj and Umrah, then you could go without even asking permission. Like, you know, you're getting money, your check will come after 15 days from your travel. So you won't be able to pay him till you come back from Umrah and you have the intention to pay it off. So it is flexible on the, but if you owe a lot of money and
Is this only for a halal loan without?
a loan that is due. We're talking about a loan that is due now during the time we're going. So if I borrow money from you, or I borrow $1,000 from you, and I tell you I'll give it to you January 2019. خلاص? Now I want to go Umrah next month. Well, my debt is due in January 2019. So I don't even need to talk to you about it because the time didn't come yet. But I'm saying if the time is there and you have to pay it now. But for the debt that is other than Islamic loan or someone's loan, like you from the school or that, where you have time to pay it and so on. But if you have time to pay it and there's going to be interest, then most of the scholars will tell you, pay your debt first before going for Umrah. But if you think you could do both, it's better, inshallah. Nah, yes.
My question is, I think a lot of these issues that we spoke about in terms of like change of values and people feeling the pressure to change, that it essentially comes from peer pressure of society around you and from the people around you. So essentially people wouldn't need to change if they didn't feel like they need to please other people around them. So living in a non-Muslim society, right, we often hear that people say, well, if we don't do such a thing, people will not accept us, or we're going to be looked at differently, or with a suspicious eye. So us as Muslims, how much importance should we have in people around us accepting us, right? Especially if the ways that we have to change, they contradict Islam, right? Even if there's going to be some slight harm out of it, as in, again, their non-acceptance, their hurting our communities and so on.
First, we shouldn't change our values to please anyone but Allah. That's number one. If we're going to change to a point where we fit in the society, where the society could accept us, or this is our purpose, where we could be accepted, we're not in like a side or isolated, or people would look at us weird or so on or so on. If we have that intention and we will contradict Quran or Sunnah, then Quran or Sunnah comes first. Now, to the harm and benefit, that's a subject that I don't like to speak about in 5 minutes or 2 minutes. Harm and benefit are like it's a complete chapter that is dealt with in fiqh very deeply on what is considered harm and benefit, and who could determine the harm and the benefit, how much of the harm and how much of and all of that. That's something that people take nowadays as slightly as not as important. So they tell you right away, if I don't do this, it's not going to work. I can't live here. Who said? Who made that decision? Who came up with that opinion that if you can't do this or if you won't do this, people won't accept you? Have you tried it and you see that people are not accepting you already? See, so if they look into the harm and benefit to a point where it should not be judged on a personal base or a person by himself saying this is harm, this is bad. Every matter that has to do with a society in whole, as a person living, and there's a lot of pressure around him, where scholars have to get together and say, well, we think because of this, now this is allowed. Like some of the things that it will be what the ulama call تعم به البلوى. Like the evil will spread so much that you become part of it. You want me to give you an example on a matter other than this, because this is a depth topic that inshallah I could speak about it in detail. For brothers wearing pants now, do you know that majority of our scholars, majority, I'm not saying just one opinion, majority of our scholars, about 67 years ago, say for men it's haram to wear pants like that? Now, nobody says that. Why? Why none of the scholars say that? How did the rule change? Not the rule change. It spread so much to a point where it becomes almost impossible to avoid it. You see where it's going now? Now the religion has a way out of it that something that was not permissible is permissible. Again, it was not said in the Quran or Sunnah as a divine rulings or a set ruling that can't change. All of this has to do with the ijtihad of the scholars, the understanding of the scholars. They're building opinion upon something that they understood. That could be flexible and change. So if something spreads so much that no one could, yes. Like when they come today and they tell you about pictures being allowed, is because now in Saudi Arabia, when the phones came out, they wouldn't allow the camera phones to enter Saudi Arabia. They wouldn't allow it. It was haram. Now let's see if they could do that. Everybody has the iPhone 10 in Saudi right now. Before it even came out, they buy it with like 2,000, 3,000. They have no problem spending money. Now what do the scholars do? That's a way to say عمت به البلوى. Now عمت means that it becomes general. Al-balwa is like the affliction, the harm, or became so general that they found themselves saying now it's permissible. There are some rules like that. Who determined that? Not me, not you. Okay? And as I told you, if you're in a place where you cannot hold on to your religion and you are 100% certain that you cannot practice your religion, if you get to that point, what should you do? Step down and say, well, come on, Sheikh, live here now. It becomes obligatory upon you to migrate right away. I'm not saying migrate from the US. I'm saying migrate from any country where you cannot establish your religion. So I'm from Egypt. If I'm living in Egypt, where I cannot establish my religion, where I cannot practice my values, where I cannot do my ibadat, where I'm not allowed to dress certain way as Muslim or wear certain way, it's an Islamic country supposedly. Egypt is an Islamic country. Forget the leaders right now. I'm saying the country itself. Islamic country. You live in Saudi Arabia where they call themselves anyway, you're in that country, right? You're living there, but you cannot practice certain values or certain things in the religion. You're living in a Muslim country. We will say, what should you do? Let go of your value? No, let go of the country. Where do you want me to go? To the US. Really? You live from Mecca to the US? Yes. Before they used to migrate from the US to Mecca. But if you can practice that, so it's never the society. The society pushes to a different, to a specific extent or to a limit. It's you who sometimes are taking it easy. People struggle. Some people, they do struggle. But at the end, they achieve what they want. But a lot of Muslims, unfortunately today, they don't even want to struggle. They're saying, oh Shaykh, if I pray outside, there's harm. You know how many people pray outside? 1,000. Out of 1,000, how many people were harmed? 2, 3, 4, 5? That's not a certain harm. So should you let go? No, you shouldn't let go. So yes, I know there is pressure. I know there are things that we need to change, or maybe the word change shouldn't be the right word to use. Adjust. There are things in our religion that we could adjust to fit into the society without letting it go. You know, like we have the values. When the mother of Asma radiallahu anha and the ayah came, or Sa'd radiallahu anhu, his mother tied herself to the tree and she said, I won't eat or drink. I will stand here under the sun till I die, and people, you would regret because people will blame you for the rest of your life that you killed your mother. He said, what do you want? She said, leave your religion. Sa'd said, do whatever you want. Asma said, do whatever you want. Stay here under the sun till you die. I don't care. I'm not going to leave my deen. You want me to leave my deen? When he went to the Prophet ﷺ, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the ayat in Surah Luqman. وَإِن جَاهَدَاكَ عَلَى أَن تُشْرِكَ بِمَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِعِلْمٍ. Anyway, the ayah, Rasul ﷺ told her what? He said, obey your mother and do not disobey Allah. How in the blue she's going to do that? How are you going to do that? Obey your mother, don't let go of the deen. How? They figured out a way. They talk, they say, okay, come down, we'll talk later. Muhammad is on the side now, I'm not going to go see him for a few days, just come down. There is a way. So when you find out every way that is possible, then you could say, well, I did everything that I can, but there's so much harm, I can't keep going, so I have to do this, or I have. When you say, I have to, that you're in a state of necessity. A lot of Muslims today are not in the state of necessity, they're not in the state of need, they're only in the state of benefits, where they want to get more, where they want to fit more, where they want to be known, where they want everybody to accept them. They're getting more benefit. Benefit does not make the halal haram or the haram halal. What makes the haram halal is necessity. And who defines necessity? Again, the scholars, not me or you, not the individuals. So I hope that inshallah answer, and inshallah there's more into that and how to scale between the masalih and the mafasid and the harm and the benefit, and when do we consider that maslaha, when do we not consider. And sometimes, by the way, sometimes things could be allowed for a benefit. When that benefit is over, then this thing becomes back as prohibited. Okay, so if me and Adnan sit together and say, we want to do this, I say, is there a benefit? He says, this is 10 benefits, and I say, okay, there is benefit. But that benefit could be now, today, when he is the president of the MSA now. Now the next president comes, that benefit is no longer there. He says, but he did it. How come you told him it was allowed? Because there was benefit at that time. There was a need at that time. We saw the benefit. Now there is no benefit, so it returns back to be haram or not allowed. For him it was halal 100% because the benefit exists and the harm exists. For you, haram 100% because there's not even 1% benefit and so on. So that changes. Who defines this again? The scholars, not individuals. The main problem among Muslims today that I wanted to speak about mostly is that why are we falling into what we're falling in today? Because there are ignorant people who speak in the matters of religion without knowledge. They cause more harm than benefit. They start saying, I think, I heard, I know a sheikh online who I saw on YouTube, I don't even know his name. I think he said that. MashaAllah. You're building your judgment on someone that you don't even know his name. That's what we are today. We're facing this problem today because of these people who comes in and just say things that they have no clue what they're speaking about, whether it's true or false. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us, inshallah. And may Allah guide us to the straight path. Any other question, inshallah? Okay, last session time. Huh? Huh? Yeah, last question, inshallah. If
it's related to the last thing that you said, the scholars are the people who are most attached to the hands of Rasulullah, that for any person, when they're looking to do something or not do something, or understand where Islam stands on an issue, as the sister asked, like, where do you draw the line with custom, and they would know. Then you have to see a scholar. Then which scholar, like a lot of people we hear they're called scholars, but some of them sound, better than others. Some of them are quote unquote less extreme or whatever. How can we tell the difference?
okay, they tell you every Muslim is a muqallid, is an imitator in everything. Like you imitate. And don't tell me that you're by yourself doing stuff without imitating. You have someone that you're imitating. I'm talking about the deen. You pray, maybe because your sheikh didn't say so, but your mom prayed like that, or your dad. So you're imitating someone somewhere. So they tell you that you're an imitator, you're a follower in everything except one thing, that you are a mujtahid. Like you become now the person who's strive to seek the whatever goal that you want to. You become a mujtahid in looking for your sheikh. Like you look into people, the one that you trust the most, the one that you see the most religious, the one that you feel that has more attached to Quran or Sunnah more. So you're doing your best. Happens that your sheikh after 5 years, you found that this sheikh was completely misguided. There is nothing upon you. You did your part and you trusted such a person, or your imam or your scholar, or the one that you listen to, because you have seen things from him already. Not because he has more followers. Not because this sheikh is on TV. Not because this sheikh is on YouTube. Okay, like in Egypt, a lot of time when I used to go to Egypt before I went to Al-Azhar, if I were to argue with someone, they will tell me, Sheikh so-and-so said. And I'm like, okay, Jazahullah khairan, may Allah reward him. But he's like, but you're not on TV like him? Okay, what does that mean? I can't speak? Yeah, when you come on TV, you start speaking. See, people scale it this way. It's not like that. You guys are old enough. You go to school, you go to UC Davis. You're not in any school. MashaAllah, you're in one of the best schools. You have knowledge. You have the ability to search. Look into what people are saying. This person who only gives you his opinion. I said, I think, my opinion, my view, my, is not giving you Quran or Sunnah. Compare this person to someone when you speak to, he says, the Allah said, Rasulullah said, the scholar so-and-so said, the madhab says so-and-so said, this said. You can't compare two people who are like that and say, well, I like the first person more. Well, you're asking about religion, so you should take what the Quran or Sunnah said more than that person. And if you feel that this person has more evidence than the one that you respect and like, there is no problem in leaving your imam's madhab or your imam's opinion, taking that other person's opinion. Why? Because you have seen his evidence, he has more knowledge, or he gave you more of what he has than the first person. You come to me and say, what do you think of this? I tell you, this is what I know. You go to somebody else, he tells you, this is what this sheikh said, what this imam said, what this madhab said, school said, this imam, Rasulullah. You can say, well, I like my sheikh better. What do you mean you like your sheikh better? He gave you all the evidence. With all the respect to your sheikh, you still like him, love him, but that shouldn't stop you from following the truth. Because the truth is more important than following individuals. That's why we follow the truth. We don't follow individuals. Individuals, they come and go. They die, they live. Who cares? We follow the truth that they are carrying. So the best way to do it is as an advice. This is advice for everybody. Choose 4 shuyukh for yourself. 4 people that you could reach. Don't tell me, I watch Imam so-and-so online. Okay, when you have a question, are you able to call him? You send him an email, he responds after 3 years. He's so busy. He's so famous. He's like in a conference every week somewhere. So don't tell me, my sheikh is so-and-so. No. Find yourself, I'm saying 4 shuyukh, okay? Different, not the same shuyukh, like shuyukh that you trust first. So this is your part of doing your homework. You have to look into the shuyukh. Have you heard this person for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? You know him, you know where he come from, you know where he studied. So you're taking 2 or 3 shuyukh. And then you say, whenever a problem happens, I'm going to these 3. If 2 of them or 3 of them agree on something and 1 disagree, I'm taking the majority. If 2 and 2, then I'm taking the one that I feel the most, and like that. But you having Sheikh YouTube or Sheikh Google as your Sheikh doesn't work. Sheikh Google, you don't know who's behind the keyboard. Tick, 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 tick. He's writing whatever. So take someone that you trust, you rely upon. In the day of judgment, if you die and say, Ya Allah, why you did this, why you did that? Allah will say, why you did this? You could say, because this person told me to do it, or this person said to do it, or this person said. Now you're saying, Ya Allah, don't blame me, blame him. And I did my best, I trusted him, I kind of followed him, I thought he was good. Well, you found out that he was not. It was in me. I judged what I have seen. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take what you have done and you wouldn't be responsible. He will be responsible for you. Because the hadith says, when people enter Jannah, they find a scholar that he used to teach them. They say, where is he? They will say, he's taken to hellfire. So they go to him, they ask him a question. You are going to hellfire, and you're the one who taught us right and wrong? He said, yes, because I taught you the right, and I never did it, and I taught you what was wrong, and I always committed. So now, Allah wouldn't tell you, oh, you were studying with this guy. He'd be responsible for what he said or what he did, if they have knowledge. Okay? And please take my word for it. Find yourself someone that you trust. Not only that you trust because you like or he's a good speaker. See where his knowledge coming from. A lot of people today are getting the title of Imam and Sheikh, and just by growing their beard, putting a hat on their head. Seriously. You know, he gives a few khutab somewhere. They call him the Imam. Why not? Bismillah. Someone comes, wallahi, seriously, a brother in university, I know, he went to a masjid. They're like, anybody to give khutbah? What is it needed to give khutbah? Yeah, just wear a hat, look nice. This book, you open it up, prepare something from it. So he did that. Now for 6 months, this brother is like, mashallah, easy. Print the khutbah and go. Now one of our shuyukh was there, one of his khutab. So after the khutbah, of course, all the stuff that he said on the minbar was not right. But nobody knows that from him. You are listening. So Sheikh came to ask him. But a guy came before the Sheikh to ask him a question. You know what was the question? He was asking this brother, he said, he had a cast on. So he told the Imam, the one thinking now he's a scholar of the time. He said, yeah, Sheikh, I have this cast on. Can I make wudu or tayammum? He looked at him and he said, no, do tayammum, don't harm yourself. So my Sheikh said, now that made me forget the whole khutbah. Who cares about the khutbah now? This guy's messing up the person's life in the salah. So the Sheikh approached him, he said, excuse me. He asked you, water is there. He could find water, but he cannot use the water because of his caste, yeah? So you told him to do what? He said, tayammum. He said, where's your evidence for that? He said, it's very clear, makes sense. How do you know? Have you studied fiqh? He's telling our Sheikh, have you studied fiqh? And the Sheikh, by the way, he has a PhD in all the four madhahib. So the Sheikh said, a little bit of fiqh. So I haven't read this opinion anywhere. So he said, see, go and search. He said, no. This opinion don't exist. Not because I haven't read it anywhere. It don't exist. Because he could wash all his parts and wipe over his cast, or even don't touch his cast. But what about the rest of his body? His face. He could wash his face. What does the face have to do with the cast? So he said to the brothers, who's this guy? They said, he's our Imam. He said, subhanallah, all your salah are invalid if you're praying behind someone like that, because I'm not sure if he makes wudu right. Someone who gives the fatwa, you see where this goes? So it's not that just because the person is so-and-so, saying so-and-so. It's the person that you trust his deen. And subhanallah, that has signs. You see it throughout the time living with him and asking him. May Allah guide all Muslims, inshallah. Guide our shuyukh first, our ai to the straight path. And wallahi, because if our ai are guided, we'll be guided. The ones we learned from, if they are guided, then we will be guided. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide people who call to the truth and guide them to the truth and guide us with them, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us guided on the straight path. Keep us firm on the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Make us among the people who hold on to the Quran and Sunnah and struggle to fulfill the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the commands of His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and keep us away from innovation or misguidance or our desires, and keep us on the straight path till we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Jannah. Allahumma ameen. And then make us among the people who are resurrected with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the highest level of Firdaus. أقول قولي هذا جزاكم الله خيرا, and we'll see you inshallah the next time. وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.